In this video, I'm going to show you how you can automate the process of creating tasks for your contracts. So whenever an intake form will be submitted with a contract request, the details from your contracts will be automatically extracted and a task will be created for that particular request. So I'm going to do two videos on this process. The first one is the setup. So the very first thing that you need to do in setup is create an AI assistant using OpenAI. To create an AI assistant, you'll have to log into your OpenAI account and then use the API option to log in instead of the ChatGPT option. Once you do that, you have to click on assistants on the left hand side and then on create. I already have an AI assistant created, so I'll just show you that. I've named it extraction AI assistant because that is the specific task it is going to perform. You can create multiple AI assistants for different tasks. Instructions that I've provided it are legal AI assistant for Alpha Tech. So this is the organization's name. You can use your own organization's name over here. And then I've just used a simple prompt where I've told it that you're a legal operations professional, analyze the contract in different formats, and your task is to extract specific details from the contract. The model that I'm using is 3.5, this particular option, but you could also use GPT-4 or this GPT-4 preview. We do need to have retrieval option enabled for this particular AI assistant because it needs to read through the file and retrieve information. So that's what we're going to do. And then once you have created this AI assistant, the next thing that you need to have is an intake form. I'm using Google Form for the intake process, but you can also use an integration with Slack or Teams or a CRM that you're using. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to focus on this Google Form. So it's a pretty straightforward one. These are the details that it has. Who's the requester? Which department do they belong to? What is this request type? Do they want a new contract, a review of the contract, what type of the contract it is, and if there is any deadline. This is important because we are going to use this information at the time of task creation. And finally, the file or the contract itself that they can upload using this Google form. So this is the setup. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can start automating this process. Done the setup. Now in this video, we are going to start automating the process of extraction as well as task creation. The first thing that you need to do is log into your Zapier account and then start creating a Zap, which is similar to a workflow. And you have to start by answering what is the event that triggers this workflow. When does this workflow start? For that, what I'm saying is you have to choose the Google Form option and then say whenever a new form is submitted or a new response is submitted is when this entire workflow should start. Once you do that, you will have to log into your account. And then for the trigger step, you have to select the exact form that we had created earlier. I'm also choosing the option where whenever a contract is uploaded is when this trigger starts. You can choose to leave this blank or select another trigger for your form. Once you do that, what we need to do is the file that was submitted in the form also gets stored into Google Drive. We need to locate that file and provide the access in a manner that OpenAI can also access that file so that it can extract information. So what we need to do is we need to find that file and send it to OpenAI so we can start the extraction process. To do that, what I'm doing is, again, you have to select this particular option, which is add file sharing preferences. And then you have to log into your account, give it authentication. And I'm using a formatter over here. How do you end up doing that? So you have to, in the file ID, you need to select this particular option called the direct URL. So this is basically the URL to the file that was uploaded in the form, which is the contract. From this particular URL, we need to extract the ID so that we can locate it in Google Drive. To do that, I've just selected this format data option and I've said extract ID present after ID equal to. So this is the exact step that I've created. I'm not going to create it again, but this is the step that you see over here. What it does is it extracts the ID from the URL, and then I'm using that ID, so basically output from the second step, to locate the exact file. Once I've located the file, I'm saying anyone on the internet who has the link can access that particular file. This means that now I can start accessing that file using OpenAI. So in the next step, this is the extraction step, you need to choose the event as conversation with assistant, and you have to choose chat GPT first. Once you do that, again, you need to log into your account, and the action is essentially sending this prompt. I'm going to quickly go over this prompt. What I've done is I've provided it the specific details that we need to extract. So we need to extract execution date, counterparty name, purpose of the contract. You can choose other details depending on the contract type or your own particular organization needs. And I've also given it specific examples of what those details might look like in the contract. So obligation to return or destroy usually looks like this. And once it has seen that information or it has an example of it, I'm also telling it you have to output the information in this particular format. You don't have to tell me the entire paragraph, but just that the confidentiality period is 2 years, for example. So these are the prompt instructions. I'll also include that as text. And you have to choose the exact assistant that you had created earlier, and then you have to choose the file that you're going to upload. So now you can choose the exact file that was uploaded in the form. To do that, click on this form option and then choose this direct URL. So now the final step, once you have extracted the information using OpenAI Assistant, is to create a Google task. So select Google Tasks, again, log in using your account, and the final action is selecting the task list. So you can create a task list in your Google Task. I am choosing contract tasks. What is going to be the title? So you can choose a form field, which is request type, again from the Google Forms. And then I'm using the response from OpenAI as well as contract type and the URL to the direct file. So it has all the necessary information that I need in the Google Task. And that is the final step. Once you have all of this ready, you can publish it, and then whenever a form is submitted, a Google task with the required details will automatically be created. A quick example of how the task creation process will work in the actual world. Let's say I'm a requester and I'm filling this form. My email is this. I'll enter my name. I want a review of a contract. The contract type is NDA. I just select the deadline for this particular task, which is 9th, and I'll upload the contract. Once I do that and submit the form, the Zapier workflow will start, and this is the task that will be created. So it has the specific details like execution date, counterparty name, purpose of the contract. There's also a link to the contract that you can access directly from here, and it shows up, the task shows up on your Google Calendar.